So something really important this year at TIFF that we're focusing on is not just about the diverse stories that we're telling, but how we're telling them. What goes on behind the scenes, how we get to our casting, and everything like that. So I first want to direct a question towards Miyoko. She also worked as a story editor on Soft. What was that like? How did you get into that position as a story editor, and what impact did your position helping with the story on the film have, do you think?
Well, I originally added Joseph on Facebook because I thought he was cute. And then I guess he must have seen a lot of my posts on Facebook about trans issues and stuff like that. And he reached out to me and asked if I was interested in authenticating a character that he was writing for a film. And so he sent me the script, and I would read over the script, and I would say, oh, a Black trans woman wouldn't talk like this, or you wouldn't say this, or, you know, just trying to create more authenticity in the character, some groundedness, and not something that's like super flamboyant, because we're not always like that. And I feel like there's this kind of like expectation for us to behave a certain way because of how we are depicted in the media. And I wanted to kind of stray away from that to something that was a little bit more realistic.
Amazing, I love that. Alina, you played Biba in Joyland. I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about the casting process and how you got the role and what the preparation for the role was like as well.
तो बेसिकली इसका मतलब ये है कि वो कास्टिंग कैसे की गई थी और कोई मौका कैसे मिला कास्टिंग पर और थोड़ा सा अपनी कैरेक्टर बताना।
अगर मैं अपने कैरेक्टर के बारे में पहले बात करूँ तो मेरे कैरेक्टर का नाम दीपा, वो एक ट्रांस पर्सन है। ट्रांस पर्सन बेसिकली वो एक डांसर है जो कि थिएटर में इंटरव्यू पर परफॉर्मेंस करती है और उसे लगता है कि शायद वो आने वाले टाइम में एक मेन स्टेज पर परफॉर्मेंस करेगी। अगर उसमें मैं पर्सनल लाइफ को मिसोजिन छोड़ूँ तो अगर देखा जाए तो वो दीपा का जो कैरेक्टर है वो बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग है, ना एक बेबी सॉवर तक दिखाया गया है ट्रांस को। हाँ जी, और कास्टिंग की अगर बात की जाए तो पहले मैंने डार्लिंग शॉर्ट मूवी मैंने की थी डार्लिंग, तो उसमें थोड़ा सा मुझे मसला था कास्टिंग में क्योंकि मैं पहले रिजेक्ट हो गई थी और फिर दोबारा साइंस सर ने उनको एक ट्रैक्टर की ज़रूरत थी तो फिर उन्होंने मुझे दोबारा कोऑर्डिनेट किया और फिर जब डार्लिंग की ऑफर आई तो उसमें मुझे इतना मसला नहीं था।
So the character is Biba, a dancer in the movie Joyland. And her casting journey is as such that basically she first was casted in the movie Darlings, and that won a Venice Film Award. But then after that, that was a difficult casting. But then the second casting for Joyland was much easier, and she got the role pretty quickly.
That's awesome, congrats. I have a question now for Carmen. You play Ren, and something you said last night. And as we heard earlier, that was one of the films that had the Trans Filmmaker Mentorship as part of the filmmaking process. So what was it like being cast for you and also being part of a cast and crew that had so much trans representation behind the scenes?
When I was cast, I was very nervous about allowing people to use my image after so many not so great experiences as a trans woman doing that. And then I saw the short that you were in, and I knew that Louise was someone that I should trust. And from there, it was just about really being able to lean into that trust, working with my acting coach, Vivian, to strip away the layers that so many trans people feel they have to put on in their day-to-day lives so that I could really show the world an authentic character. Coming to set and having trans people around me every single day who understand who I am makes that even easier. I think so many trans people can relate to getting to work and being the only trans person there and how that can just cause you to hold yourself back a little bit. And I didn't have to do that on set. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think it's so important as trans people that we are able to be our most authentic selves on set and tap into our talents without having to worry about explaining anything to the people around us and the people on set. So having that representation just allows you to tap into your highest form of what you're bringing to the set, you know. I want to do a general question for anyone who wants to answer. How do you think we should be bringing safe spaces to the set for trans actors specifically to help effectively bring out their best performances and make them feel safe on set?
जो सेक्स आपके वो कैसे महफूज फील कर सकती हूँ?
अगर मैं अपनी बात करूँ तो मेरी ज़िंदगी को पर्सनल स्पेस नहीं रहा, बट अगर मैं ट्रांस एक्ट्रेस होने के नाते बात करूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि हमारे पाकिस्तान में ट्रांस कम्युनिटी को तहफ़्फ़ुज़ देना कोई ख़ास अहमियत नहीं रखी जाती, और ना ही ट्रांस के लिए कोई स्पेशल कवानीन है, वही कानून और वही रूल्स हैं जो एक मर्द एक औरत के लिए है। बट मुझे लगता है कि हमारे ट्रांस कम्युनिटी को थोड़ी सी सेफ्टी मिलनी चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारे माशरे में जहाँ 2 लोग ट्रांस को अच्छे नज़रिए से देखते हैं, वहाँ 4 लोग ट्रांस को इस नज़रिए से भी देखते हैं कि शायद हम उनकी मलकियत है, जब चाहे तो चाहे कर सकते हैं। बट अगर मैं अपना देखूँ तो मुझे सेट पे ऐसा पर्सनली कोई इतना इश्यूज़ नहीं हुआ। जो मेरे डायरेक्टर सर थे, जो मेरे प्रोड्यूसर थे सायन जी, पूर्वा जी, उन्होंने मुझे बहुत मेंटली तौर पे ईजी रखा और मेरी प्रॉपर्ली वर्कशॉप्स की गई एक्टर्स के साथ। उनको बताया गया कि एक ट्रांस कैरेक्टर है जिस वक्त आप प्ले करोगे। तो मुझे लगता है कि हमारे डायरेक्टर्स का, प्रोड्यूसर का काम है कि वो हमें इतनी ही तहफ़्फ़ुज़ दे जितना एक ट्रांस मेल एक्टर या फीमेल को एक्ट्रेस को देते हैं तहफ़्फ़ुज़। और अगर सेट की बात की जाए तो सेट पे मुझे इतना भी खास इशू नहीं था, बट ये था कि सेट में होता है कि कभी कभार कोई छोटी मोटी नोकझोंक होती है, तो उसके लिए मैं कहूँगी कि जो हमारे प्रोड्यूसर्स हैं, प्रोडक्शन में हैं, या जो हमारे प्रोड्यूसर हैं, उनका काम है कि वो इस चीज़ को मेक श्योर करें कि हम जिस स्पेस पे ट्रांसफर काम कर रहे हैं वो भी उतनी ही कंफर्टेबल है जितने हम हैं।
Okay, well, basically she's saying that she didn't really have a bad experience at the set because the director of the film and the producer kept her very safe and secure. However, in Pakistan, the trans community does not really have equal rights like male and female actors do, and sometimes where, like, you know, 2 people might say that they are okay with the trans people, but there might be 4 or 5 people who might not like them. And sometimes there could be sexual abuse or anything of that sort. But because she doesn't have any sort of personal experience on the set like that, because the director of the film and the producer kept her, you know, very safe on the sets.
Yeah, I think it's so important that the people at the top of the filmmaking process who are organizing the sets, the directors, the creatives, that they are creating that safe space for their talent and protecting them from that kind of environment, right? So it's great to hear that you had that safe space on set. Next, I have a question for Miyoko. You played Dawn in Soft. I just wanted to know about your acting process, if there was anything that you took from your own experience in ballroom, brought to the character, if you could talk about that a bit.
Yeah, so it was really fascinating how when I first read the script, it was already pretty similar to my own life. And when I added, you know, bits and pieces of, you know, my personal things that I went through to the character, it just felt really natural, and I was really lucky to land a role that was already an extension of myself. So, I don't really know exactly what else to say about that because it was just a natural role for me. But I was really concerned because I don't have any acting experience, so I didn't think that I was going to execute it very well. But,
you did great.
But I gave it my all. I did my best, and I was really happy to be a part of that experience.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Thank you. Another question I want to pose is, what do you hope to see in the future for trans representation? Do you have anything to add?
I just hope that we keep seeing trans women telling stories, not just as the talent. There's so many trans people here who have amazing stories to tell. And when directors, writers listen to those stories, that's one thing. But when trans people can tell their own stories, they're so powerful. For me, I had a similar experience of coming to my role and finding something that was amazingly so like me. That is really hard to find unless a trans person is writing that trans character. And I think it's really the reason why the film is here at TIFF.
Yeah, for sure, amazing. I also want to ask, what role can actors play in the future of storytelling in order to build a community and lift up each other? Like, what impact do you think that has for people in the community? Whoever.
जी, जैसे कि मैं एक अच्छे प्लेटफॉर्म में काम कर रही हूँ एज ए ट्रांस एक्ट्रेस के नाते, तो मुझे लगता है जो न्यू यूथ होगी उनका हौसला बिल्ड होगा, उनको पता चलेगा कि हम में कोई टैलेंट है तो हम मेन स्क्रीन में लोगों के सामने उनके बराबर रह के काम कर सकते हैं। जिस तरह मैं पाकिस्तान से यहाँ आज अब सब लोगों के साथ हूँ, तो ये मेरे लिए बहुत खुशी की बात है। जो कुछ मैं अपनी ज़िंदगी में फेस कर चुकी हैं, जितनी मैंने स्ट्रगल की, मैंने बहुत सी लड़ाइयाँ लड़ी अपनी ज़िंदगी में, पैसे कमाने के लिए मुझे बहुत कुछ करना पड़ा, क्योंकि हमारी ट्रांस कम्युनिटी में कोई इतना अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ नहीं है, उस तरह से जॉब्स नहीं है कि वो आगे जाके लोगों के साथ शाना बशाना खड़ी हो सकें। तो मुझे लगता है कि आने वाले वक्त में जिस तरह आप हमारी फिल्म इतने बड़े फेस्टिवल टिफ में दिखा रहे हैं, लोगों को हमारे बारे में बता रहे हैं, ट्रांस कम्युनिटी के बारे में, तो मुझे लगता है कि इंशाल्लाह आने वाले वक्त में हमारी ट्रांस का जो फ्यूचर है वो बहुत बेहतर होगा और हम जैसी काफ़ी ट्रांस आगे आएंगी अपने टैलेंट के साथ।
As a trans actress, it was very difficult for me to make ends meet back home. So coming to the TIFF festival basically is a way for us to show the youth, maybe trans youth, that you have a future or you can do something in the arts and entertainment. And since she's faced a lot of, issues in terms of earning, this could be an avenue for a lot of trans children and youth to see themselves as actors. And since she's here in TIFF, it basically throws a lot of light on the fact that there is hope for the trans community, especially from the South Asian subcontinent.
Definitely, I think it's so exciting. And I think that's what the heart of it all is we have people like us representing us, and so we can be inspired, I'm certain each and every one of you is inspiring so many people, and your films are gonna be timeless. They're gonna go on to inspire so many people till the end of time, So it's so important that we have the representation on screen, because we can say, yes, that's me, that's my story. And it's not just someone, putting on a wardrobe and putting on a performance and then going back to their cisgender, heteronormative life, So thank you all for your phenomenal performances and for really inspiring the